everybody, Roger and James here from the DisKingdom Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Marvel at San Diego Comic-Con, and primarily in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the toys. We'll be doing another episode where we talk about some of the other big announcements from there. There was tons of stuff announced, especially from Hasbro. They were announcing tons of Marvel Legends figures. You got Into the Spider-Verse figures and toys were revealed. There was also a load of vintage collection stuff as well that was revealed. And just in general, there was companies all over the place announcing statues from Kota Buer and Sideshow. There was so much stuff being announced. But I want to know, James, what caught your eye?
Nothing.
To be honest, I'm not.
I mean, you knew that. We didn't talk about this before the episode at all, but you had to know that was going to be the answer. As we discussed last week, I don't really pay attention to most of these things. No. I saw on the news feed from DisKingdom, some of the statues, some of the figures you were talking about Into the Spider-Verse and whatnot, but I mean, it's not what I'm interested in. So I was mostly interested in the comics and to a lesser degree the movies. So I'm not going to have much to contribute this episode, but
it was
later in the week I got more.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I was putting up. I mean, I was getting like emails from like Hasbro and other companies and stuff with all the new stuff, and I was just like, so much stuff, and I was trying to break it down a little bit because it was a little bit like, okay, like if you're into this, you might not be into this, rather than just chucking it all in. I mean, the amount of Marvel Legends stuff that they're going to be throwing. I mean, they have been on a roll. They have been releasing set and wave after wave over the summer. I think we've had like 4 waves in like and some of them are still in retailers to go out yet. They haven't actually. We had like a Deadpool wave, a Venom wave, a X-Men wave, a Spider-Man wave, and they've been like one after another. And I'm trying to pick some of them up, and they'll be doing lots of reviews and stuff coming up there. But there's got to that point of there was so much. So next year, I think they are planning on trying to do a little bit less. I think they realize that they kind of release way too many back-to-back, and retailers are struggling to get the new ones out because they've not got the old ones, and the old ones haven't been there long enough to... I mean, I'm struggling to keep up with all the waves of the announcements and who's got them and who hasn't. Some people have got them out for sale, some people haven't even. They're still on pre-orders. So that's kind of cool. I know I've got a load of being delivered probably next week. They also announced some more of the 10th anniversary of the Marvel Studios ones. There's more of them coming. Next year we've got a Spider-Man wave, which has got a fantastic Kingpin figure that you can it's one of those things that they do where they put a part of each figure in it, so that you got to buy all of them.
Oh, I hate when they do that.
Yeah,
I understand why they do, but
like the King, there's always that thing as well. Like, they're always the best figure, usually of the set, and the biggest figure. So we got that on there. There's going to be some other great stuff coming. There's come some little pack. You can definitely see that losing Toys R Us is meaning now that they're having to go out to different places, and it's like Walmart. I've got an exclusive Luke Cage and Claire Temple pack, but don't know what's going on with all that. Toys R Us, I feel like it's definitely, they know they've got to shift it up a little bit of where they're putting stuff, and Walgreens definitely seem to be getting a lot of the exclusives from the Marvel side of things. But there was just tons of stuff. We've got new more X-Men waves. So if you're into action figures, that's good. There's also some vintage stuff with like Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I think Hawkeye and a few other characters. It depends which way you want to go, but there was tons of bits and pieces from that. There wasn't really any Lego announcements of any kind, which I was quite surprised at.
I figure Lego's holding on because there's a couple of gaming conventions. So they're holding out for that. Isn't there one in Germany where Lego normally does their things?
Lego, that's normally the Germany Toy Fair is normally the beginning of like January. It's literally a few. I was looking at dates. I was looking at dates the other day actually, and it's like literally about a week after the London Toy Fair. It's like, it's a lot easier for me to get to the London Toy Fair than to the German Toy Fair, but. There was like lots of just kind of strange one of lots of stuff being announced, but you can tell that the big thing is obviously got the Spider-Verse where they're kind of going in all on that, and there's lots more like child toys and stuff, lots of bits and pieces. They've kind of gone down that road a little bit. There's a special twin pack of Marvel Legends, there's masks, there's toys, there's little figures and stuff. So that's definitely seemed to be something they're focused on a lot more for this. And I think it makes a lot of sense with that coming out just around Christmas time.
Right, and Christmas is obviously when they want stuff coming out, because that's when the little kids are going, Mommy, buy me Spider-Man or Luke Skywalker or whatever. Obviously, they want you to go for Spider-Man, but
yes. Venom's kind of a bit of an odd one. It's that same thing as well. There is a Venom wave of Marvel Legends, not interconnected with the movie. There's some other figures out as well. They're kind of going on that approach of being like, we've got some Venom stuff out, but it's not official, because they don't like tying in with Sony, so they don't have to pay them any money.
I think it's even more than that in this case. Since Venom is being pitched as a more adult movie, definitely more mature, they don't want it to be tied into kids, because you don't want kids going to, Deadpool or Venom, and then mom and dad have to have a very interesting conversation with their kid. Now, that didn't stop parents from taking kids to see Deadpool 2, very young kids. When I saw Deadpool 2, there were some very young kids in the audience, but still old enough to at least ask interesting questions.
Yes.
So, but still, from Marvel and Disney's perspective, they don't want the direct connection. And then, of course, there is that Sony we don't own it thing, but ever since they cut that deal with Spider-Man, having him in the Avengers and profit sharing and stuff, I don't think they're nearly as anti-Spider-Man, anti-Venom as they were on X-Men and Fantastic Four up until very, very recently.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem to be as bad. It's definitely kind of cool to see them do stuff. They also announced a load more Mighty Mugs that's going to be coming. There was
I don't understand those.
I like them. I think they are quite cool. I think the trouble is they're in a saturated market of pop vinyls, and they are cool, but a lot. I know whenever I post stories on them or I see stuff on social media, there's a lot of people like, these are like pops, and we've already got pops. And it's like, I actually prefer the faces of the Mighty Mugs, but I mean, there's a lot of people thinking like Hasbro forcing them to be into we want them to be big, and we're going to keep pushing at them, and we've made all these plans to release them, and they're coming regardless of because I mean, I've already seen some of them reduce. They're already reduced and stuff already, which is never a good sign when it's a new collectible. Unfortunately, they've not really grasped the collectible side of things with limited editions and low edition sizes. I think they went full on mass market, and I don't think collectors were quite ready for that.
Yeah, it's very similar to Tsum Tsums and the Ufufis. Disney was clearly trying to get the Ufufis kind of going, but they never picked up. They never grabbed the Tsum Tsum audience. So I think it's a kind of a comparable thing, except we're talking about two different companies here, Funko and whoever makes the Mighty Mugs. That's how much of an impact they have. I don't even know what company it is.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Funko, they did announce a load of bits and pieces. We got some new Marvel Spider-Man pop vinyls from the video game. They announced 4 new ones of them. I only just got the pop vinyl from the that came out a couple of months ago, but it was reduced, and so I did a review of that last week. I looked at these 4 new figures, and I'm like, I'm not buying them because they look. I might buy Mr. Negative after I've played the game, but I don't want a Peter Parker and a Mary Jane Watson. It's just not really kind of doing it for me. That it's like they're nice, that they're very niche for.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to start them out, so they want to capitalize on people.
Yeah, I mean,
riding whatever popularity the game managed to pick up. So
yeah, I mean, they also did do something quite cool. Was they did announce a load of Marvel 10th anniversary chrome gold pop vinyls.
I always hated, and not just for pop, but I always hated those chrome gold. Skylanders did them, and it's this is such an artificial, forced way of doing special editions or limiteds, and it's just
yeah. I only pre-ordered one. I think it was I think it might have been Captain America, literally just to see them and just to kind of look at them, but I'm not buying all of them. It's that thing of there's nothing really jumping out at me going, okay, I need to have them all. I know a lot of people are. There's a lot of buzz about them, but that wasn't the one. It's kind of quite cool as well. They're doing like a bit of a voting contest at the minute for the 11th one can be voted on by the public. So kind of fun how they're doing it, but it did seem a little bit of an odd one. There wasn't really any major announcements at the Funko Fun Days from the Marvel side of things, just some Pez dispenser things, but that was about it really. It was kind of a little bit lighter than I was expecting, but then we got all the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, which are turning up on all the different retailers all over the US. It was a bit of a mess trying to get out of them. What was good was even the Funko Europe page was then tweeting out where all the exclusives were coming out to retailers in Europe, and it's like they'll have like Tesco, which is like a local supermarket near me, which is going to have some in August, and then some store in Germany, and then a company that doesn't ship to the UK, and they're going, this is not quite. I know you might look at Europe, but it's like if I can't buy from an Ireland site that doesn't send to the UK, it's not really any use to me as a Europe. It's like, it's either we're not. This is Brexit. It's not working very well. So that was a bit of a thing of there are some great ones, but then like Game over here have got like the Kingdom Hearts Mickey Mouse exclusive that I wanted. I'm not paying $19.99. I'm not paying 20 quid for it when it's normally only $9.90. It's twice the price. I'm not paying a markup of twice the price just because it's in what Game, and they know that they can sell it. I did order the Ant-Man pop because Forbidden Planet, at least it was only like £2 more than a normal pop, so it wasn't like, okay, I'm getting £20, that's like $25. I'm like, no, I don't want it that much.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all just artificial price and inflation. I mean, that's, you might not buy that one, but like you said, they know people will. Yeah. And even if they don't, even if they only sell 50% of these special ones at twice the normal price, they can then mark it down for 50% off, so it's the normal price, but your brain's going, ooh, 50% off, and they can sell it, and they're still making a profit because it's the normal price for it. So we've been doing this in the comic market since the comic market began. I mean, it's what caused the crash in the 90s, the comic crash in the 90s. So, I mean, Funko's got to be very, very careful with this. All of them do, but we're not at that same point. No. But all collectibles reach it at some point. Vinylmation reached it at some point, and we did a podcast very recently on, they're pretty much gone. Yeah. And someday, not soon, but someday we'll have one of those on Funko as well. Yeah. Now, years from now, because Funko looks like it's still going strong, but at some point it won't be.
Yeah, I mean, also there was also kind of quite funny as well. I was noticing this on one of the Facebook groups, was Dorbs. There was no announcements of any new Dorbs at the Funko Fun Days, which doesn't surprise me because I kind of like Dorbs in some ways, but I don't think they caught on the way that they're trying a new series now called 5 Star, these new smaller figures that kind of cross between. You can see how they're trying different styles to see if they bite. Dorbs didn't seem to bite with people, and
it was It's funny you mentioned that though, because I was actually at a Disney store this past weekend, and they had some of the D23 exclusive Dorbs there. I think it was some Guardians of the Galaxy ones. I didn't buy them, but I was like, wow, they must not have done really well if the D23 exclusives didn't sell it, because a D23 is like E3. Exclusives it doesn't matter. They're gone. People will buy them just to scalp them, and these ones didn't. Either that or they magically found like a box in their inventory that they then distributed, but I think it's more likely that they just didn't sell out of them. Yeah,
they're definitely interested to see what they've been doing with it all, but loads of stuff out there, loads of things for you to spend your money on. Let us know in the comments below, what are you excited about, and did you make any little San Diego Comic-Con, I say exclusive, but they're not exclusive, you can get them somewhere else. But
that's good. Yes. That's good. We do want people who aren't able to make it to San Diego, which is the vast majority of people have access to. So that's good.
Yeah, so it's definitely good. On that note, guys, let us know what you guys think. Go check us out over at DisKingdom.com. Follow, like, subscribe on all the different platforms. And James, where can they find you?
From heroiclegacy.com.
And on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back soon. Later.